Thank you for joining us, Indianapolis. This is Wealth in the Winner's Circle with your financial advisors, Harley Shanklin and Dave Williams of RDW Financial Group. I'm Spike Spangle. Gentlemen, how are you both doing this week?
Awesome. Doing great.
Good. Today on our program, we want to talk about how you can maximize your retirement savings, your retirement investments, your retirement tools. But what exactly does that mean, how to maximize it? Dave, I'll start with you. What does that mean to you when it comes to being a financial planner?
So most people, when you talk about maximizing, they're looking at rate of return, right? I got to get the most. I got to take more risk. I've got to get that 10, 20% return. Got to have it. The problem is that nobody thinks about what is the tax effect of that return. You know, it's great if you make 10%, but if you're at a 25%, what's your real net? All right, so there are things that we have to look at as far as taxes go, and we're going to get into it. There's a lot of different types of accounts that operate in a very different way when it comes to taxation. And what we want to do is maximize not only the return, but the tax efficiency of those investments.
When I look at your website, rdwfinancialgroup.com, which, by the way, our viewers can go to as well. Maybe we can find that on the lower third. RDW Financial Group. First of all, this is an interactive show. Type that into one of your browsers right now, folks. You can learn about the team. I am surprised, as financial advisors, how much I see about taxes on your website. And in fact, I think you do either seminars, webinars, live events. You're always talking about the taxes. Harley, to me, I don't feel like I have much control as a regular citizen on my taxes. I just know the beginning quarter of every year, I got to go and make sure that I pay them. But you said there's a difference between going and just doing your taxes and looking down the road. What does that mean?
So yeah, Spike, it really means the difference between tax preparation and tax planning. Those are two completely different things. Look, we all want to pay our fair share, but when you and I go to file our taxes every year, we're just giving ourselves a history lesson as to how much we earned last year and how much we may still owe the government. And that is a good thing in that we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing there. But when it comes to tax planning, that's not about looking in the rear view mirror. That's about looking forwards into this wide open space that we're going into, and specifically retirement. We want to look out into your retirement horizon and see what are taxes going to look like and how are they going to impact you along the way. And that's what we do through our retirement start planning process, where we look at your tax efficiency to make sure that you are on track, that you're going to have a successful retirement.
Dave, actually, in the beginning of one of your before careers, you had been saving into tax-deferred accounts, and you once told me a little bit of a story on how you didn't really get the most amount of help there, did you?
Almost, well, none. Let's just cut to the chase.
I was sugarcoating.
Zero help, no. And you know, Roth IRAs back then when I was just a young guy, non-existent. You know, we didn't know. We were told, put money away for retirement, grow it tax deferred, and you'll have this pile of money at the end. And they never talked about the tax bomb. And I'm going to use that word bomb, because now for 40 plus years of my life, 40 over years, I've been saving for retirement and putting money away in tax deferred accounts, only to have this tax bomb, because when I start drawing it out and the government's going to require me to draw money out, I'm going to have to pay tax on it. And even if I don't live long enough, my children are going to have to pay tax on it. So if I had known 40 years ago, of course, unfortunately, we didn't have the tools back then.
Right.
There is a big difference today. There are so many options. And I'll just give you this. The wealthy understand this, and there are things that they can do and products that they employ that we can even do with our clients if passing money to the next generation from a tax efficient standpoint is an issue.
Okay, and that's why we said don't go anywhere, folks. We are going to talk about these solutions. We don't just talk about the problems on here. We want to make sure that we give you some action steps that you can walk away with. In fact, speaking of an action step, well done on our producer in the booth. Here's one for you right now. You can go to rdwtaxtest.com. Type that into your browser, or if you want to, if you've got your phone there, you don't even have to type it. Open up your phone to the camera function. Point it at this QR code and click on it. It'll take you to the rdwtaxtest.com. In fact, we have a couple of slides if I also want to keep our producer on his toes. Well done.
Wow.
Harley, why don't you explain exactly what this is for the folks?
So this is where you will land when you go to RDWTaxTest.com, where you will enter in your basic information as well as what you think your tax rates are going to be, not only today, but going forward, to help lead you to what is that overall tax bill going to look like. I just warn everyone out there, make sure that you're sitting down when you enter this information before you hit next to go to the other side of it.
So you'll put in a couple of inputs, and then it'll go to this page. You'll get this report. It'll get sent to you, either email, or you can actually click on that professional review as well. Now, that is correct. You're looking at a total amount in taxes, but the savings over time can be incredible. Two problems. Number one was the education. We were told back in the 1980s, save tax deferred, you'll probably be in a lower tax rate when you get to retirement, right? He's been laughing the whole time about taxes. When you said everyone wants to pay their fair share in taxes, he was quietly keeping this laugh at bay. Not everybody wants to, but also it's not just the education. You were right, the tools weren't there. So now that we have these, how are you trying to educate people on, there's a couple of different things from conversion to Roth 401k.
Yeah, we're in a very fortunate time right now because the window, and I stress this, is currently open for opportunities in the Roth arena. Mm-hmm. Roth can be 401ks, Roth can be IRAs, but there are things that you can do to contribute to Roths and to convert from Roths. And right now the tax code allows us to do those things. One of the things Harley and I always look at is Roth conversion opportunities and Roth contribution opportunities, because let's face it, I'd rather pay my taxes today and have tax-free returns and income in the future. Why? Well, you know, it doesn't take a fool to look around and say tax rates are more than likely going to go up in the long run. Mm-hmm. Okay, and as a matter of fact, this year we have an uncertainty. The tax code that currently exists may expire this year if Congress doesn't update it, and then our tax rates are going to go back up.
Well, and the longer that we wait, Spike, the longer that we wait, the more those tax-deferred accounts are going to grow. And let's face it, those tax-deferred accounts are the gifts that keep on giving to the government, to the government out there, everybody. That is just not what you worked those 20, 30, 40 years to do, is to leave the government more than their fair share. We want to help reduce that through the tax planning that we do, the strategies that we can help you out there employ to ensure that you aren't paying more than you should, and that any gifts that are left behind go to your family and not the government.
We're going to continue to talk about how you can maximize what you've saved for your own retirement. One of the free tools right now on the bottom of the screen, RDW Tax Test, created by the team here of RDW, the financial group. You can type that into your browser, or you can scan this QR code and go to it. Handful of quick inputs. I'm telling you, less than 2 or 3 minutes, and you'll get the results. Then you can take the next step. Then if you want to, maybe you got somebody sitting on the couch next to you, you can call the phone number. You can set up your appointment and say, I want to do my complete review. I want to get started on my own START process for retirement, which will include taking a look at this tax report and the risk that you're taking, your portfolio, estate planning conversation, medical needs conversation, everything from long-term care to Medicare, choices and selections, and everything else that's on your mind. It is complete, it is comprehensive, and it is done by independent financial advisors, and it is no cost to you. Let's get started on your retirement review. More wealth in the winner's circle when we get back right after this.
One thing I think that sets us apart is our focus on education, and not only for ourselves professionally, but also for our clients. So within our office, we have an education center where we're able to hold monthly events and present on various financial topics, but we also bring in outside experts. So when it comes to things like estate planning, we want to have an estate attorney come in, talk about wills, talk about trusts, the importance of powers of attorney and things like that. We have a CPA that comes in to talk about taxes, and then we also do fun events. We've done wine and canvas nights where we have the clients come in and we all get to paint pictures and with a nice glass of wine. We've had mixologists come in and teach us how to make our favorite drinks. People with travel, gardening, we do all sorts of stuff because we want to make sure that our clients are getting educated in the ways that are important to them. whether it's their finances or those fun things that they may have wanted to try, but haven't actually had an opportunity to try it.
Welcome back to Wealth in the Winner's Circle with financial advisors Harley Shanklin and Dave Williams. Now, we're talking about how you can maximize your retirement savings, and I'm really surprised how many times we steer Wealth in the Winner's Circle constantly into the tax conversation about it. RMDs, here's one of the rules that changed with legislation a couple years ago. So it started now at 72, it's out to 73, and I think in a year or two, you won't have to take out required minimum distributions from your tax-deferred accounts until 73 and eventually 75. Fellas, is this a good thing?
It can be, Spike, but what I think it ends up doing is it just encourages us to continue to kick that tax bomb down the road. And that's ultimately what we're doing, is because for those of you out there who don't know, anytime you take $1 out of that 401k or that pre-tax IRA, you're going to pay income taxes on it, and that can be a daunting task. We don't want to pay taxes, so we tend to delay that. Now the government has given us the option to defer it. It started at 70 and a half, then moved to 72, and then I believe it was the very next year moved it out to 73, and now out to 75. And all that's doing, like I said, is just encouraging us to keep moving that goalpost down the road. And once again, we want to take the proactive steps in helping to reduce that, because the longer we wait, the bigger that tax bomb is going to become, and thus the bigger the explosion.
I thought for once it was Washington, D.C. looking out for our best interests, realizing that we're living longer. That got a bigger laugh than I was expecting right away.
That's a novel concept, Mike.
But I thought, oh, hey, they know that we're living longer, so let's not force people to take that money out sooner than they need to. Let's let it keep growing. But I'm kind of getting what you're laying down, the longer we're doing that tax deferred. So with you saying we know that these tax rates will stick around at least through 2025.
Right.
How about even, let's be optimistic, what if they do extend them throughout the rest of this administration? Is this a good thing for us to be able to maybe do Roth conversion for another 3 or 4 years, or do we want to do it all this year?
So no, normally you don't want to do a tax conversion all in 1 year. I mean, let's face it. There's a lot of ramifications. You have to look at how much, what it might do to your Social Security, your Medicare premiums. Your tax bill. What tax bracket's that going to throw you into? We believe, and regardless of what happens with the tax code now or in the near future, that a systematic withdrawal plan, moving stuff efficiently from A to B, in other words, tax to no tax, is a much better plan. You know, and you talked about the government taking away our ability to, or kicking it down the road. Mm-hmm. While they did all that and pushed it out further, they did another thing that most people don't realize. They took away the ability for our children to stretch out those payments over their lifetime. In other words, our kids used to be able to take those RMDs and stretch it out based on their longevity tables. That went away. Now that has to be taken back over a 10-year period. So we not only have to look at our taxation, let's face it, as we get a little older, our mortality is a little bit more insane. We have more behind us than we have ahead of us. I certainly don't want my children to give Uncle Sam more than they deserve.
Okay, so that's what I'm putting together there. So if they now, let's put some numbers to it.
Sure.
Let's say a husband passes away, he's got a life insurance policy, leaves enough to the spouse, there's another $1 million there maybe, draws that down, lives in long-term care, maybe there's $500,000. Mm-hmm. And let's just say one adult kid for right now. So we've got an adult child who's probably 50 or 60, somewhere around there. They're probably working, let's say making $100,000 a year. They're at the top of their career right now. So now they've got $500,000 and they've got to take it out in 10 years. So that's going to probably, add to their tax brackets?
Absolutely. And it's 100%. Also could have an impact on their Social Security, their Medicare, because down the road, who knows what the Medicare limits are going to be and how much Uncle Sam's going to want for those premiums.
And Spike, these are the problems that we see, that oftentimes when we initially sit down with clients, that they say, well, what do I care about the taxes? I'm going to be gone. And my question is, well, Is the government supposed to be your beneficiary of it, or are your children? All it takes is a few simple steps. The first one is using that RDWTaxTest.com to figure out what is that lifetime tax bill that your accounts potentially face, and then to sit down, schedule an appointment with us so we can take you through that process and show you, before you even become a client, put your checkbook away, how you can start to reduce that and how we may be able to help you do it.
I'm going to rephrase that one more time because that was a brain explosion over here for me, because I was thinking that as well. You might have some parents are saying, you know what, my adult children, God bless them, they're going to get what they get. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't want to go through tax planning. But your question of, all right, do you want it to go to your kids or do you want it to go to Uncle Sam? Being able to keep more of it in your family. You've kind of talked about that completely, Dave, that this is the reason why we talk about estate planning. It's not just about what we're leaving to the kids or the grandkids. It's about effectively protecting what you have through strategies. And so I want to go to the open of the show where you said, this is what the ultra wealthy do, is this kind of planning.
Right.
But you said you can employ some of these strategies for regular folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are products out there, when people hear the term life insurance, they quiver and think about somebody knocking on the door and collecting premiums. But the reality is life insurance has been a planning tool clear back to the Rockefeller days. I have a couple of clients that have used it very effectively to provide for future college and income in retirement for their grandchildren. You know, they've been well blessed, they're doing well, and through the effective use of certain types of life insurance policies, these children are being set up with tax-free income for life. And it doesn't have to be the grandkids, it can be their children, their spouses. There are tools out there where you can, if you will, enhance value, enhance estates, enhance the opportunity to take care of your family and not enrich the hands of the government. You know, I'm always amazed at how much time we spend concerned about the return and the investments and how they're performing, and how little time we spend on the taxation and the devastation that takes place on those returns.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we have that up on the screen right now, the RDWTaxTest.com. Look, this free tool is because we want you to have a perspective on how much you're going to pay currently in taxes on those tax-deferred accounts. It's very simple. Think about this right now. How much do you have saved in your own tax-deferred accounts? Guess what? As Dave told me, that's not all yours. You got Uncle Sam, who's a partner in those accounts with you. So the RDW tax test will tell you after a couple of inputs how much you're going to pay in taxes. Now, we know that we're in some of the lowest tax rates in U.S. history. So would you rather control how much you pay in taxes now and maybe next year and the year after that, put together a strategy, or wing it and possibly pay more in taxes down the road? I know what the answer is for me. Why don't you go to RDW Tax Test right now and figure out how much you're going to owe in taxes. Then you can call the phone number that comes up on the screen and talk to us about it. Now here's the thing, you're hearing us talk a lot about taxes. I want to let you know that the team here, financial advisors, comprehensive financial planning that will include discussions on your investments, yes, taxes, estate planning, healthcare, Social Security, and so much more. So call that phone number, get started on your own START process for retirement. We'll be right back after this.
As a kid, I wanted nothing more than to be a hero. But little did I know I would actually get that opportunity, and it really started for me. The catalyst was 9/11. And as the war on terror continued to unfold, I put my money where my mouth was. And I ended up landing with the 101st Airborne Division and became a light infantry medic with them, and I spent a total of 28 months deployed overseas. I had the opportunity to serve with some of the greatest men and women that this country has to offer. And I had the blessing and honor to meet my wife through that journey. And after 10 years of serving in active duty, we started to build a family. Our son Leo was born, and I quickly realized that it wasn't the environment that I wanted to raise a family in. It meant moving around, and it meant risking my life in ways that may put me in a position that I may not be there to play catch with my son, right? To walk my daughter down the aisle eventually. And so I started looking for other opportunities, and that was when my father-in-law came to me, and he ran a financial planning and wealth management firm in Indianapolis. The relationships that he was able to build with his clients, it really resonated with me because I felt that same care with those men that I took care of overseas. And so I made the leap, became a financial advisor, and I like to think that I've continued that mission. Rather than their medical hero, I'm their financial hero. Every Friday, we have our team training. The calendar's clear. We put the phones on the answering machine with a nice greeting, and we teach each other about our various roles and responsibilities within the office. So as an advisor, I might spend an hour talking about a specific aspect of retirement planning. Not because the other team members directly deal in it, but it helps them if clients call in with questions, anything like that, that they at least have an understanding of it. And then I take that same opportunity from our team members. When it comes to our servicing department, I'm terrible at paperwork. I want them to tell me about how it's processed, how to do it. So when I'm sitting in front of a client talking about a new account that we may be opening, that I have a better understanding of how that process works. So the client can be clearly informed and know the expectations going forward for it.
Welcome back to Wealth in the Winner's Circle with Harley Shanklin and Dave Williams of RDW Financial Group right here in Indiana. We were just discussing the Roth conversion and how it can make it more efficient for your retirement spending. But you said you've heard this before. People will come to you at the end of one of your live events and say, oh, I can't contribute to a Roth account. I make too much money.
Yeah, that's a big misconception. And used to be true, there weren't things such as a Roth 401k. Wish they had been available when I was young. I would have fully taken advantage of knowing what I know today. But here is the opportunity. A lot of 401ks today, and we assist clients in determining if they're available for them through their employer, can contribute to the Roth just like they would to their 401k in a Roth environment. In other words, they'll pay tax on the money today, but going forward, all earnings, that money will be tax-free for the rest of their lives. And the added bonus, at age 73, they're not forced to take money out. It never counts towards the taxation of their Social Security. It's a beautiful thing.
So let me ask you, fellas, if somebody's watching this, they figure out, oh, a Roth 401k, I can contribute to that. Now, first of all, for folks, you can't contribute to both at the same amount, meaning you can't put the same $30,000 if you're over the age of 50. But you could do some into a regular 401k, you could do some in the Roth, you could split it or completely change. But is it worth it for somebody to do it for 1 or 2 or 3, 4 years if they're about to retire soon?
Well,
there's only one way to find out. There's only one way to find out the answer to that, Spike, and that's to schedule an appointment to sit down and go through your individual situation so we can determine what is the right number. Should we be contributing everything to pre-tax or everything to Roth or a mix between the two, right? It's different for everybody out there, but it takes sitting down, evaluating your savings rate, your tax situation, and everything else, all the other types of accounts that someone has to determine what is that answer.
All right, so the Roth conversion, this is something for folks who have saved tax deferred for probably their entire lifetime. Roth conversion, we can find out if it's worth doing. So let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say you've got an account of $500,000. Which is pretty reasonable, and there's a lot of great big companies around here, you know them.
Sure.
You don't have to do it all at once, do you? Or can I do a little bit at a time?
No.
Absolutely. We recommend not to do it all at once, because remember, that $500,000 is going to take your current tax bracket and multiply it up, because you're going to go from $500,000 plus what you make. No. And this is where the S.T.A.R.T plan comes in. We actually plan it out. We can actually show you what the conversion would look like over how many years. When does it make sense? When does it not make sense? I mean, I've had some clients that they retired and all of a sudden had a very big opportunity to do a consulting gig for 3 years. Their income went from a certain level here to a new level. it doesn't make sense to convert because we know their income is going to come back down the road. So every conversion is unique. I will say this, the younger you are, the better you are. The more times it gives us to put together a plan to get you from here to there.
All right, so Roth conversion, Roth 401k, worth using, Harley?
Oh yeah, in the right situation it is. And here's the one thing I'll tell everybody out there watching today is this isn't something that you just want to do willy-nilly on your own, because when you do Roth conversions, it can have a significant impact not just on your taxes, but on your healthcare costs. For those of you out there who are retired and are on Medicare, that is based on your Medicare Part B premiums is based on your income. And when you do a Roth conversion, that is going to count as income. And the last thing that we want to do is see you trip over that IRMA tax and have your Medicare Part B premium skyrocket by 80%. That just doesn't make sense. So let's sit down, go through it together to ensure that you're not paying too much and you're being as efficient as possible.
Let me review, and hopefully I learned something from you both today. So if we can convert, or if we can start using a Roth 401k, or if you are able to contribute to a Roth IRA, the benefits in your retirement years of using Roth accounts, you said, I don't have to take it out for RMDs because we've already paid taxes. It doesn't count against Social Security for your provisional income, which means now you're keeping more of your own Social Security.
Correct.
And then the legacy benefit, rephrase that for me again when we're leaving it.
Legacy benefits, your children will not have to pay tax on that money either.
And when we say children, I mean, let's say, that, you know, as we were talking about your mom in your 90s, and I've had grandparents into their mid-90s, we could be talking about adult children who are in their high earnings years. So
absolutely.
So you're making it more efficient for them, keeping more of it, like I said, just like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies. Folks, we talked a lot about taxes. I'm going to give the both of you some time to think about this here. The 5 steps in your START method, that when people reach out, they come into the office, you're going to go through them. But folks, the entire retirement plan, one of the things, of course, is the tax strategies. But there's many different elements to working with an independent financial advisory team who want to help you with all of the different strategies. Harley, I'll start with you. The START method for retirement planning, what is it?
It's pretty simple, Spike. It's secure income, tax efficiency, advanced planning, risk management, and a tailored investment strategy. All taking all the pieces of your retirement puzzle out there, putting them together in a simple to understand follow-on guide to help you have the successful retirement that you deserve out there.
Dave, you've always been highlighting the team and the whole group of people back there. So it's not just you running the numbers, and it's not just Harley running the numbers. You've got the team back there helping you, the investment management strategy, the partnerships with taxes and estate planning, even those Medicare choices.
Right.
It's a whole group behind the RDW Financial Group, correct?
That is correct, and we do that on purpose. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. None of us know when our last day is, but we do that for the client. The other thing it does is it brings a perspective in from each and every one of us. I've never known that one person has the right answer for all, so.
All right.
That's what
Thank you both so very much. Folks, you can get started on your own free written financial plan with the team. Call that phone number, call it right now. There are literally people standing by who will schedule your appointment. Or you can scan this QR code right here with your phone, click on it, you can schedule your own appointment. Thanks for watching Wealth in the Winner's Circle. We'll be back next week.